Welcome to Totally Talent Podcast by HR.com, your go-to source for all things talent. Whether you're looking for expert insights on high-volume hiring, the latest trends in recruitment technology, or strategies for building a winning team, we've got you covered. Join us for each episode as we dive deep into the challenges and opportunities shaping the talent landscape today. Let's get started. Today, we're on the Totally Talent podcast with Elaine Orler, who's recently joined a company called Match2.job, which we're super excited about. It's a new company, but with a lot of expertise in the industry, coming to do something really cool and creative that we're going to bring to you today. So Elaine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. It's fun to catch up with you as well. It's been a little while.
It has been a while. Elaine and I have known each other for way too long. We won't tell you how long, but she's had a very prestigious career and helped form an entity called the Candies, or the Talent Board, which I went on to actually take over for her role. Well, she went on to bigger and better things and recently left Cielo, which is one of the largest, best RPOs in the space, to join this startup called Match2.job. So you know that it has to be something very cool to get somebody who's had such a rich pedigree in the talent acquisition space to come into this new vertical. So why don't you tell us a bit about Match2?
Absolutely. Well, I'd also have to say before I even dive into the company, which I am super excited about, this is a true left turn in my career, right? So we've known each other I've been in the consulting space, bridging between solutions and the side of client delivery for 20 plus years.
Yep.
So with my first step on the technology side being with Tal Vista, which Scott Sessions and I ran together and then ultimately sold. But this has been like a true leap for me. So Match2.jobs is really focused around the candidate experience, something I know both of us are really passionate about. But it's actually enabling the candidates to do a little bit more on their own job search capabilities from within a company's career page. So if you think about, and you stop me because I will ramble for hours on this. So you interject when you need me to stop or breathe.
Okay, I will. And also if I think you need clarification so that the people could really visualize what it can do for a candidate.
Absolutely. Well, I think going back to even just the research that we did when it was the talent board and the candidate experience, one of the greater challenges that we find today is the only avenue for candidates to identify with jobs is through the career site. And through that career site, it's required to go to the search page. And as I've really done more research and started to dig deeper into what's happening, that search page becomes keyword searching for most organizations. And then what happens is you get a long list of jobs. I did this experiment today and I was doing it for an auditor on a client site. And I had an IT auditor, I had a finance auditor, I had a legal auditor, I don't even know what the other auditor was type. And yet I would have to read through every one of those job descriptions in order to see which one I might be a fit for. And so what we're doing at Match2 is turning that sideways.
Well, imagine how many job titles or positions are even things you don't even understand what they are. Like they can be a government category or a level 5, and it doesn't even make sense to what the position is described in. But at first glance, you don't even think you're eligible or applicable for that position.
Absolutely. And you just scroll through and then you have to look up the full job description. And so I think candidate behavior, depending on their level of interest, they might just start applying to everything. And let you as the employer figure out if they fit or not, which is a lot of some of the behaviors today, or they just abandon the whole search altogether. And you lose even capture ratios of those candidates on the website that might have been the right candidate. They just didn't know that job was the right fit for them. So we're going to be a tool that sits on that page as a plugin. So instead of just search and apply, our clients actually have the ability to say, why don't you match to a job? So the candidate quickly loads a resume. And then we take them through a couple of steps to validate their information. And then they're immediately presented with jobs that have a matching score to their resume.
Mm.
So instead of
So,
having search and wait,
yeah, so
it's
typically the recruiter does that matching,
yes.
right? So, but letting the candidate do that matching is a massive breakthrough. Like, why hasn't other people thought of this before?
Well, we're hoping to rush to be first. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but you're absolutely right. So much of the work is done on the recruiter side to do the scoring, to do the
Mm-hmm.
assessment, but we don't give the candidate any opportunity to validate what they're submitting. And what we're doing with Match Two is presenting them the match score, the score profile, and then we're giving them a chance to validate themselves against that score. So
Right.
it's interactive and engaging for them. So when I think about a finance resume and submitting for a finance opportunity, one of the jobs we were testing actually said that it required advanced Excel.
Yep.
And I don't know of any senior managers in finance that still put advanced Excel on their resume.
Mm-hmm.
But yet in our tool, they're actually able to go in and toggle or drag and drop the fact that they do actually have that skill because we're demonstrating it as they're missing it. And then describe a moment in time where they actually have used that skill. So they can describe the employer, they can describe another skill associated with it, but we're capturing that interaction for their submission to the job.
So does the company, let's just use Acme Company, the most famous generic company in the world,
Yep.
do they have the ability to like, do they have to put that they need advanced Excel on their job rec? Or is that picked up based on the traditional skills of a CFO?
It's a great question. So we're actually indexing against their jobs. So we're doing the extraction from their jobs and building the skills library. We also do it's in years of experience
Mm-hmm.
necessary versus in credentials versus employment type of organization. So we're extracting all of that from the job and having it ready. So when the candidate loads their resume, we're then doing the parsing from their resume and doing the immediate match. So it is dependent
Okay.
on the job description. And I think as more organizations get better at defining those jobs, and those job descriptions are pretty lengthy today,
Yeah.
we're able to calculate out of those what those requirements are. And our tool actually does the difference between 3 years of experience in a specific discipline or industry versus all experience. So we're able
Mm-hmm.
to tailor those jobs to that candidate that are more in range with the level of opportunity that they're looking at versus what they first started their job as.
So in back to the job description, and it says say they didn't have advanced Excel in it, and you can automatically imply that they would need advanced Excel from a recruiter or the person who builds a job rec. Can they then pick which are the most important things to ask the candidate to match against, or to articulate why they have that experience or where they had that experience,
That's a
or is
great
that all
question.
dynamic?
Yeah, so it's based on what's on the job description today. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of organizations have the ability to modify those descriptions to be more
Mm-hmm.
specific or least or less specific, depending on what their desires are. So our tool then takes the candidate resume and matches it against that. But we give them a score, and then we give the candidates the ability to actually go in and modify what it is that have things that came back. So
Mm-hmm.
perhaps there was a credential or certification and they didn't put that on their resume, but they have it. So they can edit that in their profile,
Mm-hmm.
and then that'll get submitted to the employer. So we're giving them a list of a variety of jobs. So they might be of a match score. 100% match score is like, let's go, you've got this. But even we found with the candidate behavior that you still want to look at what did and didn't fit, or where are the optional skills, because there are required and then there are
Yeah.
optional or recommended. And so they are able to just continue to navigate back and forth. And I've even seen some of the behavior where it's like, oh, the system said I have this credential. Well, I actually don't. So they can
Mm.
actually toggle it off as well as on, depending on what they need to do.
Now, if
So,
if I'm a
yep.
candidate, do I own my Match 2 profile, and can I take that profile to another application?
Oh, that's a great question. So coming soon is
Perfect.
our connected talent network, which is what we think is also incredibly valuable to the
Mm-hmm.
candidates in this industry. So think of this as a candidate passport.
Yep.
So once they do apply to an organization, now we're not building a talent community or network for sale. We're not going to compete with CRMs. We don't have any intention of taking that type of the market. We want to augment where there's opportunities, and let the investments ride where there's already been substantial investment. So when we do the connected talent network, our employers need to give us permission to ask the candidates to join, to invite them to join.
Mm-hmm.
Once
Mm-hmm.
they do join, that allows them to continue a connected component to that employer. Now, we're not going to sell that information to a competitor or push it to
Yeah.
another employer, but should a candidate go to a second company that uses Match 2 as well, which we hope eventually all companies will, then they're going to see on that profile very quickly that they've copied their resume over. They'll see those matches and they'll be able to store that in their passport as well. So our long-term opportunity is for those organizations to maintain connectivity to these Match 2 candidates. So that if they return to the website, let's say they came the first time and there aren't really any jobs they want to apply to. So they join the network. And then once they do that, they come back to that site that's going to render to them, by the way, there's new jobs that match. So
Mm-hmm.
here's some new jobs. Perhaps one of these are of interest to you. So it just allows for that relationship to stay open with those candidates.
That is amazing. Are you doing anything to authenticate the resume, like to prove that it's not a fake profile? Um, there just seems to be so many fake things, bad people around.
Yeah, and it's a question that I want to continue to solve for because there's so many
Mm-hmm.
different variables today. I think
Mm-hmm.
I know we've seen a lot of the news lately around the bot applies and the tools that our candidates are being given to do mass applications,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not even qualified for the jobs, but it's just running them through how much can we feed into the funnel. And
Yeah.
I think, at least with Match 2, it's requiring interaction with the candidate. So a bot can't use our product to apply on behalf of a candidate. The
Mm-hmm.
candidate actually has to have interaction. So I think we're saving some of that noise, or stopping some of that noise from happening. But we can't guarantee a candidate is the right candidate. We are looking at different things, from email authentications to making sure that they can validly respond to that email before submitting. And then we're also looking at other avenues to do, like the databases that exist around licensing. So if it's in a healthcare position, can we certify that they have a license
Mm-hmm.
before they
Mm-hmm.
apply? So some things like that will continue to evolve in the network.
All helping to authenticate, almost like blockchain a profile, right? So saying that this is Debbie McGrath, this is my profile, and here's all the points that prove that I did go to this university, I do have this degree, I do have this skill level. Right?
Yeah, we hope that we can enable the candidates
Mm-hmm.
to really keep that passport up to date, so
Yeah.
that when they do submit, there's confidence in what they're submitting.
So you talk about the application not being like it. How long does it take to get up and going on a website?
Oh, for our solution, we can do it in a matter of a week. It's not us that's the delay.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have the system ready to go. In many cases, it's a matter of organizations just making a decision, where do they want to put it on their career site,
Okay.
and then it's a simple plugin. It's the same kind of code that you might do for Google Analytics or some other codes that you might run on your website. And then once we get that placement in, we're up and running.
That's
So it's,
amazing.
and then the back end, the tools for the employer, they have access to see some of the counts of the candidate records and those kinds of transitional pieces. We're working on, additional dashboards for them to see overall interactions, activities a candidate took, those navigational pieces that are really important.
So right now you're in beta, coming out of beta
Soon.
soon.
Everything is a rocket ship. Like I said, I've
You've been
been
there 2 weeks. Come on.
been here 2 weeks. It's exactly it. Today is my 2 week anniversary. So we have a lot to accomplish in Q1. That's our intentions.
Right.
So we have beta customers now that we're going through very quickly. We're seeing some great success and returns from the candidate engagement pieces around, specifically around just the interaction and the stability of the platform to support their decisioning process. We're also working with a great organization around our integrations, because one of the things that we want to make sure that can be very seamless and smooth to the candidate is the handoff at the point of apply. So
Mm.
I'm ready. I've done my analysis. I've made my corrections. I want to apply. We want that process to be seamless. We don't want them to be jumping hoops again and then spending another
Yeah.
45 minutes trying to figure out how to apply and losing interest. So we're going to make those integrations as easy as possible.
That's great. Now, I know you have some very influential people behind this organization, people who've been in the industry as long as you and I.
Yeah.
And that is really a big competitive difference. We see a lot of the startups coming out, just super smart people out of California or various Ivy League schools, but have never spent time in the space. But they
Yeah.
sure know how to use AI or imagine how AI could improve what we're doing or create a better chatbot or a better whatever. So tell me a bit about the team and
Sure.
why this is going to help you in this category.
Yeah, actually, we're having a blast. We're small and agile right now, but Doug Berg is the chairman of the organization and ideation king. So we're constantly coming up with new features that we're already ready to push into our beta program and then into our general release. But Doug comes with as many years of experience as you and I. He's no stranger to the startup space and the launch and evolution of great companies into sales and other avenues.
Sure,
And
he's
then
had
Darren Simmons.
two or three successful exits in the talent acquisition space.
Where has he been successful?
No, like Doug has his jobs to web that he sold to Indeed.
Yep.
Right, and then he had our jobs to web sold to SAP. Which one?
Yeah, SAP Success Factors, and then Zap Info.
Yep,
And
sold
so,
to
and then that
Indeed.
was Indeed, and then he's had a couple of other ventures even before those. So,
like techies.com.
yes,
Job board, right? So
yep,
yeah, so he's very well known in the space
absolutely,
and had really good exits. So that's great to have him back.
Yes, we're excited to have him back for as long as we can keep him. So
off his fishing trips and his golf trips in Cabo, whenever you can get him, you will.
we
Right?
will, and he wouldn't be sad that I said that. So
yeah. Okay, and who else on the team?
Darren Simmons is our CEO, and Darren comes with a long history within the talent acquisition space, within the staffing solutions and RPO solutions. So he's championing all of our efforts around the investments, the dealing with all of the board details, dealing with all of the strategic things that we need to do to make sure the company is stable and launches in a great way.
Good. And Elaine, how about your development team? Where's that sit?
We've got a variety of resources right now. So we've got a couple here, and then we've got a couple that are in different countries that are supporting us, that have been resources that Doug has used in the past. The good news is they're very well aligned. So they've done some of this work together. So we've been able to ramp even faster, I think, than trying to start with new resources on a regular basis. So, and then we have Kevin Penny. Kevin is also our CTO. And has been through the rodeo, so to speak, when it comes to talent acquisition solutions.
Good. So it's kind of like bringing the whole team back together again with you as a new addition.
I'm the newbie, and I'm, like I think I said, 2 weeks in and drinking from a fire hose and loving it. Again, I keep pinching myself that I get to do this again. I get to be a part of another startup and see the change. And for me, it's just exciting to be able to do something that's truly going to change the candidate experience again. that it's back to my roots and
Yeah,
passion.
good. Now, originally, is your go-to-market strategy just to get some marquee clients direct, or are you also talking to a number of the partners to get this integrated into their applicant tracking systems or various tools like that?
Yeah, we're open to all the avenues right now.
Mm-hmm.
So with our beta customers, we're going direct with those because those are strong relationships that we have. And then we are looking at the partner ecosystem again through our integration opportunities. We want to be complementary to the
Mm-hmm.
solutions that are out there and continue to expand their footprint. So if they're willing to bring us into their clients, we'll make it a great partnership going forward.
And now, from both of our research with the candidate experience, we knew that communication between the hiring company and the candidate was always the downfall. Right? It
Yeah.
was never frequent enough, never on point, and it's only got worse in the last couple of years with so many people applying and the deep cuts that have been made to recruiters. So, is there anything else you're doing to help build that better communication between the candidate and the hiring company?
Yeah, I think there's two elements to what we're doing that I think will have some impact on that for sure. One is with the talent passport in the connected talent network.
Mm-hmm.
Candidates have the ability to notify the employers when they make a change. So that opportunity will build in the framework for them to say they took a job with a different company, so
Mm-hmm.
they no longer want to be notified, or they want the recruiter to know so that they're not consistently being recruited for if they've made that decision, but we'll be able to collect some details from them as to where they went and what their decisioning process was as part of a survey
Okay.
mechanism.
Okay.
So we'll have some of that feedback for the employer. The second is because of the way that the application works, and you think about the way that career pages are working today, there's an opportunity to do some landing page models
Mm-hmm.
where the candidates come in and they applied to a job, they've been in the database for 2 months, they haven't gotten any communication, so how can we re-engage them without actually creating a situation where a recruiter has 10 times more work.
Yeah.
So that in re-engagement could be the message back that says, while you've been in our system for a month or two, we really would like you to see what other opportunities you might be a match for. And they can take that landing page, and then we can actually keep track of and monitor those candidates in through the process to see how many of them continually engage or re-engage. But it's an activity to give them as part of the process versus just sitting and waiting.
So, is there any way to give them data like this recruiter's looked at my profile 5 times, so maybe I need to follow up, or any of the traditional marketing things you see to give the candidate more insight as to where they sit in the process?
That's a really, you know what? I'm going to write that down as a future feature. We're going to come up
Okay.
with a way.
Okay. Perfect.
Uh, the connected network, the connected talent network gives us an opportunity to have a two-way relationship for those candidates and those employers. So exposure to status is a
Mm-hmm.
potential. I know that that's one that we've been trying to accomplish for decades, which
Mm-hmm.
is, can the candidate at least know where they are in the status of the recruitment effort? So that's one that I'm pretty passionate about. But the messaging as far as the candidates and that just giving them a percentage to start on
Mm-hmm.
what their fit is to the job so that we
Mm-hmm.
know that their match components equal this is giving the recruiter more insight into them directly, which we hope will lead to faster conversations.
Well,
So
I see higher quality and
mhm.
faster. If some of the companies wanted to add another step in there, like an assessment, would that be an option?
So once they complete the match two, if they go through the apply process, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
apply mechanism is, if there's a next step in their apply process, they would be served up those steps as well. So if there is an assessment component or pre-screening questions, all of that would be served up as part of their experience.
Very cool. Great. Well, I can't wait to follow your trajectory. I know it's going to be exciting. I think, the HR space, especially recruiters, have had a bit of a hard time in the last 2 years with an up and down yo yo of oh, hire these 2,000 people, oh, lay them off. No, let's get them back. But there seems to be a lot of optimism going into 2025. And I really believe that the candidates need a better experience. So this is going to be a win-win for everybody, which I don't think in most cases we have that. Whenever you add a tech stack, it typically helps the recruiter, not the candidate, right?
Yeah, I agree. And this is a chance to put something out there in front for the candidate to engage with, to have an experience with that will give them a better idea. And if they come back with, they're going to identify with jobs that they've never thought to identify with before.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to look at jobs and go, wow, I really don't want to do that job.
Yeah.
So their ability to self-select in and out is really, really important because it's putting the control in their hands to know what that looks like.
That's great. So Elaine, if people want to get in touch with you, they should go to match2.jobs.
Yep. Or you can email me directly. It's super easy. It's Elaine@match2.jobs. And so happy to have a conversation, give a demo, show off what we're doing in features anytime. It's
great. And for our audience, we're going to capture a demo of that and make that available to show the impact of AI in HR. And we're so excited to have Elaine on our show today. And this episode is over. So thank you, Elaine, and take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Totally Talent podcast by HR.com. We hope you find today's episode insightful and inspiring. Don't forget to explore more episodes and discover valuable resources at hr.com/podcasts, where you can listen to all of our podcasts. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and making a difference in the world of talent.